Welcome back to another episode of the Presence Podcast, where I have the pleasure of interviewing the most influential and interesting people in real estate. My guest today is Alvaro Nuñez Alfaro, who is the founder and CEO of Super Luxury Group, a leading global real estate company that specializes in selling multi-million-dollar properties. Alvaro takes a very innovative approach to marketing and has a powerful personal brand with over 1.2 million followers on social media. He's also a best-selling author and a fearless adventurer. In this conversation, we talk about his inspiring story coming to the US and starting a business here. We talk about how exactly he's built his massive social media following, and we cover his passion for adventure and how he's turned his lifestyle into a competitive advantage in his business. So please enjoy this inspiring and uplifting conversation with Alvaro. Welcome to the show, Alvaro. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're from Madrid and you immigrated to the US and now you've built this incredible business in Miami. I'd love to hear about how you found your passion for real estate during that transition and when you came to Miami.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll give you a little bit of a short story because I actually came here in 2011 with a tennis scholarship after graduating from high school in Madrid, Spain. And my career was basically to try to become a professional tennis player. It was something that didn't seem as exciting once we started to face this huge economic crisis. My family was losing everything, and I ended up just going in a different direction, leveraging tennis to open up a new opportunity for my life, which in this case was to go after the American dream. So came into the States, graduated, did a bunch of different things in between. And then I found my way moving to Miami a long time afterwards, where I decided to start Super Luxury Group.
That's amazing. And so much of this resonates because I'm from Germany originally, played basketball growing up, came to US on a basketball scholarship, chasing my dream of playing in the NBA one day, and then leveraged a lot of that to build Luxury Presence. So I feel like you and I have a lot of parallels, and you were just talking German to me. So I got to ask, how many languages do you speak?
Well, I speak 4 fluent languages and then a couple of not so good ones. But yes, I love languages. I think it connects you in such a deeper way with people that it's just a beautiful thing to learn.
Yeah, I agree. That's amazing. How did you find your way from the world of sports to the world of real estate?
Well, it's a sport, right? I think that real estate is also an intense sport if you look it up from different eyes. But the way that you tackle anything in sports, it just resonates so much in business. In fact, there is a nice book from Mark Cuban, and I would recommend it. It's what was it called? The sport of business. I don't know. I forgot the name, but it was a good book that I recommend. And it just simulates a lot about what it is that you do in sports that you can bring to business. And I think that in my case, having that background in tennis is one of those things that I leverage not only to open new opportunities, but to really start exploring what my career path could look like outside of tennis. And marketing, one of the things that I started to do more and more, became my newer passion. And then from there forward, finding ways to implement marketing into saturated industries such as luxury real estate, but with a very unique touch. Because I believe that marketing is one of those things that has evolved very rapidly over the years, while real estate has kind of remained sort of traditional. And it's the marketing that has made that industry change over time. So yeah, I think that when you go into business and you go into real estate specifically with that mindset of, okay, I got it, I'm driven, relentless, I have the resilience. It's a sports team effort as well. Like, you don't do this by yourself. You need to find yourself building the strategic partnerships, the right relationships, and you just keep on learning. And you just have that student, that athlete mentality of always wanting to learn how you can become the best, or at least improve in the game.
Yeah, that's well said. And there's so many leadership lessons that we get from sports that we carry with us, right, to the business world. So I think about that all the time. And there's lots of things that still are very relevant about how you operate in a team and how you operate as a leader. So I love that. When you think
By
about,
the way, the
yeah,
name of the book is How to Win at the Sport of Business. I'm like, what the hell? I forgot that name. Actually, I listened and I read the book multiple times. It's a
yeah,
short book. That's why it's also very efficient. And I'm like, why I don't even remember? But that's the
I
name.
will add it to my reading list. So when you think about those early days, building a business is always a hard endeavor, and it's especially hard when you're an immigrant and you're in a new country. What was an early setback or a moment when you thought about giving up?
Well, actually, I'll bring it a little bit back, but when I first moved to the US, I was envisioning this beautiful American dream of going to a big college and all the different things that I've heard about the US. And because of my situation of not speaking English at the time and really trying to find a school that will give me 100% of scholarship and that will pay me on top of that as well, I ended up going to a small school located in New Mexico. When you land there, your ideal dream of being in the US is completely derailed at that time because it was not what I was expecting. Now, with that being said, I still decided to keep on going and trying to build myself from there forward. And what happened afterwards was just something that I did not expect, which was to break my foot and ended up losing my entire scholarship. And no other school would get me because I was injured. So I had no other choice but to either give up and go back to Spain or find a different alternative. So that's one of those moments where, you're 17 years old, you have the entire comfort of everybody at home telling you to come back, but then you realize that there's a bigger reason why you went to the States. What's your dream? What's that why? What's that vision? Why are you there? And it was at that moment where my mindset was a bit shifting because I was very negative at the time. And speaking with my family back home, I actually had a call with my sister and she was crying because of the situation in Spain. So the moment of me thinking I could potentially give up turned out to be a reminder of like, no, I'm here for a reason. It's an opportunity. Find a way and make it happen. And one of the jobs that I ended up getting was in the maintenance department because it was the only job available on campus. So I was cutting grass, picking up trash. And at that time, without even a scholarship and on crutches, I continued doing that, which built your values, build your resilience, build that whole mindset. And that's one of those things that you carry on through your life and the opportunities start arising and you are just stronger. And that's why when I look back at moments where you almost give up, these are the moments that they either break you or they build you. And in those cases, I can always be grateful to say that those moments are the ones that build me.
That's amazing. And then you went on and you started Super Luxury Group in Miami.
Yeah,
Was there
it's a journey. It's a
yeah,
journey, right?
yeah. I was going to ask if there was a defining moment when you started it, when you knew, yes, this business is going to work.
Yeah, I mean, like everything in life, you have to follow a path where you are committed, where you have the consistency to keep going, but that you also believe in, because there's going to be a lot of people out there that are not going to believe in your journey, and that's okay. You need to believe in yourself. So that's, I guess, the first thing that you need to ask yourself: do you believe in this? Do you believe in this journey? Do you have what it takes to stay committed regardless of the obstacles that I'll be facing? And I remember that the path towards where I am today, it was not easy. And anybody that has achieved any type of success, they, I'm sure, have faced difficulties. And those are the ones that made them who they are today. For me, I actually moved to South Florida to do my master's. I started to continuously leverage in tennis to find the right people that I could start coaching and building the relationships to end myself getting a great job and therefore a work visa and therefore build my career that I wanted to build at a time. Because as you know, coming from outside of the States to stay in the country, you need a visa, right? And the fastest or most efficient way sometimes is to get a work visa from an employer. And in my case, I was going in the right direction. I gained lots of knowledge and expertise in the business. I started to like what I was doing, and I found myself living my American dream. That vision that I always had started to become fulfilled. And then when we were supposed to start working with the process of the visa, I did not pass the application because there is a lottery, right? So that lottery, because there's so many cases, they didn't even look into my application. So I had to leave the country because my boss had nothing to say, but look, Alvaro, you cannot be here. So unfortunately, we had to let you go. And from having my entire life figured out and having everything built up to the point of where I wanted, all of a sudden it's taken away and you have to leave. So building Super Luxury Group, it was a great moment because that moment is the moment where you are finally seeing things as they really are. You are sometimes stuck into this rat race where you're doing everything in automatic mode, but you're not really seeing that you're not fulfilling each area of your life. I was devoting my time, effort, and energy into building my career because I wanted to get my work visa so bad that all I did was work my ass off every single day without even remembering that there was more things in my life that matter. And then when that thing was taken away, then it's like all of a sudden I started to see again. It's like, wow, where is the time put with my family? Where is the time investing on my health? Where is the time put on experiences? Where is the time put on my spirituality? How can I find this real peace, real harmony, real happiness? How can I grow? And then I started to look into what will be my dream lifestyle. Like what could be that vehicle that will allow me to live the lifestyle that I want. So that was a great moment to identify how do I want to move forward in life. So Super Luxury Group was born from the core of really putting together the things that I'm passionate about, which is luxury real estate, marketing, traveling the world, working with amazing people, and doing all these kinds of things that I believe that now are the essence and the core value of SLG. Now, SLG didn't arise and became what it is today overnight, but it was a process. So instead of, again, we come back to the same thing. When you face those difficulties, yes, you go back to the comfort zone, or you could use it as a launch pad to take you into the next chapter of your life. And, I think that in those defining moments, you need to go for whatever that path of growth is going to be, no matter what obstacles or difficulties you're going to encounter. But if you are at least following something that you're passionate about, that you believe in it, and that you're going to give your 100, if you go down, you're going to go down doing something you love. And if you have the consistency and the commitment to even continue no matter what, you'll achieve success.
Yeah, that's very well said. And I want to ask you about something you touched on, which is balance in your life between business and relationships and health and wellness and experiences. Because looking at at least your public persona and everything you share on social media, it does seem like you've really found that balance. You're doing a lot of really interesting things. So I want to ask you about that because I feel that a lot of business owners struggle with that, right? Finding the right balance between their business and everything else. How have you been able to do that?
Well, we'll come back to the same concept, right? Of really, I built a business that fuels my passion. So Super Luxury Group is at the end of the day, the vehicle that allows me to live this lifestyle. So I don't have a business so that then I can live this life. I actually have a business that is driving me through the life that I want. Like I'm in this vehicle. Like I don't differentiate between personal, professional, this and that. Like it's all combined. I just look at my life as a beautiful movie that I'm just being the main character in it, and I just think that going through life with this mindset of knowing that you can combine everything all together and have a balanced but extraordinary life, and you can keep on leveling up every day, right? That's the name of my book, Level Up. And I think that it all comes down to the same mindset: is you don't need to be really good at one thing and that's it. You can be really good at everything. It's just a matter of how you prioritize things and how you organize it over time. Because I gotta tell you, I was not there. I was out of balance consistently throughout my entire life. And now finally I found that vehicle and that system, because it's about creating systems over time, right? That allow you to do this level up concept of a mindset, but at the same time, keeping it balanced and extraordinary. And I didn't tell you this, but when I had to leave the country, I had to leave. And I knew I was going to come back. And after many years trying to figure out the system and how to make it all work, I came back to the States with an investor visa and I started Super Luxury Group. So it's about not giving up. as long as you have a clear path of where you want to be, and your vision, at least for me, contains all the different areas in my life. I don't see myself as a very successful entrepreneur that makes millions of dollars and this and that, and that's it. Like, I have a very specific vision that really combines all the different things. And that vision, I break it down later on. First of all, I fuel it with my why, that big purpose of why I'm doing these things. But then later on, I also break it down into goals that are so tangible, from different timelines to all of a sudden yearly, monthly, weekly, daily goals. And then every daily goal, I put it in the calendar. So it feels so tangible that I wake up every morning, and to meditate is as equally as important as having a meeting with an owner that has $100 million property. It doesn't matter, because for me, every single thing I do in my life throughout the day has equal importance, because if it's not important, I don't do it, period.
Yep. And it sounds like you have built a real goal setting system that translates the vision into specific tasks every day. Can you describe that in more detail? What are the daily and weekly and monthly, or perhaps even annual rituals or habits that are part of how you ensure that you're moving towards that ideal life or that ideal vision?
Yeah, of course. I think that it's very important, and this is a reminder for everybody to just dream bigger. Sometimes we set ourselves such small goals, and this is one of the funny things. I see a lot of people that have like big goals for the year, but then when you listen to their vision or what they even think that they want to accomplish in 5 years, it's so small, the difference between your yearly goal and in 5 years. So I want to dream the biggest thing I can, crazy stuff. So that's what supercharges me. And I know that if people tell me that I'm crazy, I'm going in the right direction. So I usually share 0.5% of my goals. The other half, I don't share it. So I like to keep this one thing for myself, one thing I share. But the things that I share, if people don't tell me I'm crazy, that means I'm not dreaming big enough. And I'll go back and rebuild it again, because I want to become crazy about what I'm dreaming. And then I want to start breaking it down into more tangible things. But it all comes down to dreaming bigger, because people sometimes they set up themselves so short that even if they accomplish it, they're unfulfilled because it's not that much. So for me, it's about starting with that. Then I create this whole system of the daily lounge, right? I wake up actually, if you want a bit more of details on it, the night before, I go through all the different goals for the next day. I make sure that I add them exactly in the calendar. So everything that is in the calendar has a higher percentage of being converted into reality. So I have it all in the calendar. I keep the priorities right at the beginning of the morning, and then later on throughout the day, it changes, but it goes all in buckets that represent the different areas of my life. Then when I wake up in the morning, I always have a specific time when I go to sleep. When I wake up in the morning, things that I'm grateful for, it keeps you grounded, because we're in an industry that sometimes the materialistic things are what matters the most, when in reality is far from it. So being grateful for the little things. I go through my vision, my why, my values. I go through the wheel of life, the different massive goals. I go through all these different habits and routines that I want to start incorporating. Then I do the meditation for 15 to 20 minutes. I practice Vipassana. It's the most Asian type of meditation in India. And then after that, I go to work out, whether it's running, bike ride, gym, whatever the case is. Then after that, I do a little bit of stretching. I do the cold plunge, which I love it. And then after the cold plunge, I go through my entire affirmations. I prepare myself the right nutrients, smoothie, breakfast, whatever. And then I do something that at least I consider very powerful, which is every morning, once you have supercharged yourself. And again, all this, I keep my phone in airplane mode, which is something that allows you to stay away from distractions. But one of the things that I found very interesting is that I take every day 10 minutes to just go through the list of people and text something meaningful. 10 minutes. Doesn't need to be a specific person. I just go through the list, and whenever I finish, I carry on the next day and keep going. And I just do that every day for 10 minutes. And it supercharges the way that you connect with everything in your life, from spirituality, your physical and health, your experiences, your relationships, your business. So everything is like in movement. And once you're able to do this daily lounge, you tackle the day like you feel unstoppable. You're like a train that is just ready to take over anything, versus somebody that is waking up at 8 o'clock and it's like, oh shit, I need a coffee. What's going on? So it's a matter of staying disciplined to what works for you.
Yeah, I love that. And having these types of routines to start your day in particular, I found to be incredibly helpful for building the right habits. It makes it a lot easier to stick to, especially the habits that might be a little tougher to build for some people. So I think that's really great advice. Where does running a world champion Ironman event fall on the list of crazy things you've done? Because you recently completed one, I saw, and
Yeah.
I was super impressed because I know how much training it takes to do that. So an incredible achievement to even qualify for an event, not to mention finish it. So tell me more about what inspired you to do that and what the training looked like and so on.
No, thank you. No, I think it's very interesting because it's one of those things that you can always apply the same concept of the compound effect. I didn't train more for this than when I started to train for the first Ironman I did. In fact, I train less, just more efficient and smarter. So I think that it's all a matter of starting at something. So I had a big reason why I wanted to do this Ironman. In fact, I was going through a really difficult time in my life where, the person that I was supposed to marry and the business partner I was supposed to build something with, all these things were falling apart. And I found a different reality of what I was going towards. And when you face a wake up call and you see those moments going through your life, you have two choices, right? You can go through the path of negativity, blaming, starting to go out, or you can use those pains as fuel. And I use it as fuel. So that same moment that I was going through that same night that I got disappointed and I found something that I did not expect, I went online and I Googled toughest challenges in the world. And I saw Everest, and then I saw Ironman. I thought, oh, cool. I'll sign up for that. And I signed up for the Ironman without having any previous experience whatsoever of long distance running, of swimming or biking. I didn't even have a watch to even keep track of anything. Needless to say, running shoes. I was just like a guy that was going to the gym here and there, and that's it. So once you decide to do something that is beyond just a regular challenge, like it's tied to that pain, it keeps you moving forward. Because every time that I was trying to quit or that I was feeling the pain, I just turn it into fuel. So you progress through the journey. I see a lot of people that have this analysis paralysis. They need like all these different things to be aligned in order for them to get started to work towards a challenge. For me, it was just, okay, I take action, I'll figure out throughout the path. And I did my first Ironman. After I did the first Ironman, it was a very powerful experience. Then I remember I saw the people that were finishing at the top, and I was talking to my brother who also did it with me, and we were both thinking, man, these people at the top are insane. Like, what does it take to be at the top or qualify for this world championship? And then we started to look at the requirements. I was like, man, that's insane. Forget about that. My brother said, all right, I'm out. Bucket list. I did Ironman. That's it. For me, I said, look, I trained so hard to get to this point. May as well just continue through the journey. And that's the whole mindset of Level Up. I want to keep on going to the next level. So I kept on training. I did another one, and then I did another one, and then I qualified for the Ironman World Championship in the last one I did. And I'm like, wow, really? I qualified? Yeah. This is insane. And now being there, it's just like the extra reward, to be among the best athletes in the sport. It was just a blessing.
What time did you get to qualify?
So I did it in 10 hours, and I was under 30 years old. So that category allowed me to fit in there the last minute. So that was a good one. And this, I didn't do as well on this last race, but doesn't matter. I was not going there to win. I was going to just give my best. But as I said before, it's about having a balance in your life. I did not want to say to my girlfriend or everybody else, oh no, this summer I'm staying in Miami. I'm just going to train because I want to be so good in Ironman. And instead of finishing in 11 hours, I want to finish in 9:50. It's not going to change my life. So I want to train myself very hard. I'm going to get myself to the next level. I'm going to keep on growing, but I want to grow in every area of my life because it's equally as important. And I think this is the mindset on always wanting to go the extra mile in every area of your life.
Yeah, I love that. It's really impressive that you were able to do that. And 10 hours, for those listening who are not familiar with the event, this is 2.4 mile swim, over 100 miles on the bike, right? And then a full marathon.
112 on the bike and 26.2 running. Yeah, and you need to do
Yeah.
it under 17 hours.
Yeah. So really, really incredible event. Let's talk about social media. So you've grown yours to over 1.2 million followers across the various channels. And I'd love to hear how you've done that. And if you don't mind sharing some of the tactics and strategies that have worked for you to grow your following so quickly.
Yes, absolutely. I think that a lot of people get intimidated when they try to grow a following or they have not been active on social media and then they want to get started. They post a couple things, they get like 3 likes, 4 likes, a couple thousand views. They're like, why am I even bothering to try to build something? It's so out of reach. But we all started somewhere there. I started also in the same situation. And in fact, it's not that I grew it up long time ago. It has been more recently, in the last few years. And it's all about identifying, first of all, who you want to be, who you want to be on social media, like what's your brand, both for your business and your personal brand. Once you have that clear, you need to start identifying who are the people that are succeeding in those spaces. Which ones are the individuals or the brands that already have built an audience that you want to create for yourself? I call it always the OPA, other people audiences. So if I see somebody that has already built an audience that I want, how can I work with that person so that my brand, myself, will be in front of that audience? And there is a lot of ways to do that, right? You can do what you're doing right now, a podcast, so that my audience will get to know you. Instagram lives, you can do collab posts, you can do, back in the day it was very effective to do the tagging. Now it doesn't work as much. So that's why they launched the feature of collaboration. But there is always ways on how you can elevate your brand. So I think that one of the strategies or the best ways that I can say that has worked for Super Luxury Group and for myself is always to bring the people that have built those audiences before. So one of the ways that we actually got Super Luxury Group to where it is today, it was through influencer marketing. Back in the day, it was not even a word that existed. Like influencer as a word didn't really exist. And needless to say, in real estate, like nobody was doing nothing with influencers in real estate. So we started from doing the luxury short-term rentals in different jet set locations. So if I wanted to promote a home while creating unique content, while leveraging other people's audiences to grow my brand and reach to the people I wanted to work with, then those influencers seem to be the right approach or the right path. And when working with them, what could I offer in exchange? Well, have them stay at the property. And it was a lot of back and forth with the owners at first, but once they started to see results, it became a business model that we developed through different angles and has worked well for us and transitioned into the sales of real estate. And now we offer this as well to the people in our network. We have an exclusive network. It's called the SLG Network. And these are real estate professionals from different jet set locations where we help them also leverage that through what we offer. It's just a matter of finding the right tools and finding the right people and the right media channels to grow your audience.
Yeah, great advice. And I've seen you do a lot of Instagram live videos that you stream with very notable agents and some of the biggest names in real estate come on your interviews. Take us back to when your following was still smaller. How did you approach that outreach? How did you get your first few guests on? And for someone out there who doesn't have a following yet, do you have any recommendations for how they can land their first few guests?
Yeah, I mean, everything is also timing, right? When we started, yes, of course, I have a few people, a few friends that are well known that I can try to bring on. You always have one person, and if you don't have that person directly, you might know somebody that knows somebody, but you always can start somewhere. And then you use that as leverage to show the next one and then the next one. So, of course, beginnings are always hard, and that's what people feel, that resistance, and then they quit. But once you get the things in motion, it's going to be much easier. Now, when I approach people, not just because it's a strong page, but also because of the previous people that we've interviewed. When we approach by saying, hey, love your profile, we just interview this person and you will be a great fit, they feel more likely to say yes because we already show that we interview people that they might feel also wowed by. So that's an approach. But then I will say that, look, there is always different methods. DMs back in the day was easier because it was not filled out with spams. now it's like you get DMs everywhere every second, right? So you need to find what's a different angle to get people noticed. I used to do something that helped me a lot at the beginning, which was to share stories, tagging them, or post tagging them, so at least they will notice me. It was something about adding value. How can I add value all the time? Posting about them, talking about them, sharing things about them. And then eventually they'll be like, man, this guy's showing so much love. What's happening here? Let's pay attention to this guy. Also become an outlier. I did not build my brand following somebody's brand. And I said, oh, I like what this guy is doing. I want to do the same. No, I always just created my own path. I actually looked into what were my passions, what are the things that I love doing, and how can I combine them. So if I love flying helicopters, I love skydiving, I love, real estate, I love traveling the world, I love ultra endurance competitions. How can I combine all of this into my brand, and how can I leverage that to make people want to work with me? Because when people work with me, they don't work with somebody that understands real estate. They work with somebody that goes beyond of that. So
yeah,
you can find ways to go viral. Yes, I have a video that actually, it was very funny. It's me on the side of a plane with a suit. I jumped out of that plane, perfect exit, sunset on the background, all the things aligned, great video. I did that, went viral, and not just on my page. My page has got like maybe a couple million views, but that same video, it was reposted on all the viral pages. So that video got over 300 million views. So
yeah,
Shaquille O'Neal, like a lot of celebrities also shared that same video. So my account blew up, and that happened also on TikTok with some other videos. So you're always one post away from changing the trajectory of your brand. But if you are not consistent, if you don't take risk, and again, I don't mean risk by jumping out of a plane, but I'm saying the
yeah,
risk of you saying, okay, I want to bet on something and I want to go through that route regardless, then you're never going to see something going the other side of the coin. I
yeah,
personally did that skydiving thing because I love skydiving. I do this regardless. So if you
yeah,
love golf, if you love going in a boat ride, whatever you love doing, transform it into whatever
yeah,
you can do for your brand.
yeah. And the important takeaway for people, I think, is to take the lifestyle they love that's authentic to them and find ways to document that and share that with the world. And that can make for really great content.
That's exactly right.
Um,
And it's the called breadcrumbing. Share little pieces of what's going on throughout your day.
yeah. And I've seen you share a lot of these incredibly well produced lifestyle videos, whether it's from extreme events or jumping out of planes. And it's clear you have a very talented content team. So tell me more about what your marketing team looks like, and perhaps share a little bit about what type of roles you filled in-house versus where you partner with external vendors.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I think that it's good to have a very consistent team in terms of keeping your brand the way that you like it to be. Because if you start switching back and forth with different videographers, editors, and different, let's say, outside of your own team resources, then you're going to start seeing a lack of consistency. So I always love to work with similar editors, at least. Videographers, yes, if I'm traveling a lot, I might find different people that have to shoot different things, and you can always guide them with exactly what you want. But it's always good to have somebody in house that can edit your videos the way you like it with the consistency. Same thing goes for super luxury groups. Same thing goes for my personal thing. But you don't need to have too much, honestly. A lot of people get paralyzed by not having a whole production team in place. When I started doing this Instagram live, it was just my phone and let's go, And
Yeah.
by the time that somebody that told me the same day that I said that I wanted to start the podcast, somebody else said the same thing. 4 months passed by. I had already like 70 episodes. This person didn't even start the podcast because he was waiting for the camera to arrive because the other camera and this and that. And then the platform because the editor from this is like, dude,
Mhm.
I'm 70 episodes in. What are you doing? So
Yeah.
if you don't have the perfect camera, if you don't have the perfect videographer, it doesn't matter. Everybody has a phone nowadays. Just document yourself. Ask your friend to take a picture of you, do a selfie video, have somebody record you something. Doesn't matter, at least get content out there. And people are transitioning from all this well-produced content to more authentic. So I'm trying to always keep it mixed up. That's why I do a lot of
Yeah.
stories that are more raw. So that shows both sides. Is the me running, doing the selfie thing, and then you more produced video, because I also do it for the brands that want to place it on campaigns. So it's for what you want the content, and then just
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Well said. Don't let perfect be the enemy of done. Just get started. Just get
That's
going.
right.
When I saw you at Inman, you were about to go on stage and you gave a great keynote about how to use the hottest trends to level up your real estate business. So I want to ask you, what's the hottest trend right now and how are you using it in your business?
It's a good question, and I talk a lot about it. And every time trends get updated, no, like I know that right now the artificial intelligence is becoming a new thing for people to elevate and grow their business rapidly. We see some of the companies that are actually launching their own avatars and artificial intelligence systems with ChatGPT and so on. But I think that, look, everything at the end still comes back to you. If you want to dominate a market, you want to become the forefront of it. So how can you stand out from the crowd? How can you use whatever it is to help you be the person that people want to work with? What can you do yourself to gain more business, to gain more authority, to gain more exposure? Get yourself out there. Action will always overtake everything else. And this is what I mean.
Yeah.
You can take the right type of action, the wrong type of action, but take some action, because a lot of people don't even get started. And it doesn't matter how many trends are out there in the world. If you're not taking action, if you're not even getting started, then what's the point? With whatever you have, at least get started,
Yeah.
because once you build momentum, once you start taking action, then you can start incorporating. It's like the same story we were talking about when first signing for an Ironman. You don't have to figure out everything out. You don't need to know all the trends. Just get started.
Can you tell the listeners what your social media profile and your online personality has enabled for you in terms of business results? And are there any specific metrics you look at, like the number of leads or the number of deals you've generated from social media, that tell you how well your social media is doing?
Yeah, 100%. I think that it's everything. Right now, it's my new business card, right? It's just a different way of presenting yourself. In fact, people, that's what they look on these days. If they Google your name, what do they see? If they go on social media, what do they see? You need to make sure that you have a clean overall image everywhere people will look for you. Because the reality is that you are your best seller. Like if you are not taking care of yourself, if you're not doing marketing for yourself, doesn't matter how good everything else is. So
Yeah.
yes, you can have an okay online presence, but how can you make it that aligns with the type of people that you want to work with? I personally try to transmit my lifestyle, not for the sake of just showing what I'm doing, but also that people will connect with me. Attention is the strongest currency. So the more eyeballs that come your way, the more opportunities that are going to be opening up for you. I use it to open new opportunities. I can DM anybody or reach out to anybody, and there will be a higher percentage that they will answer or that they will engage in a conversation versus if I'm DMing for an account that is 1,000 followers with no content and maybe a picture of me walking a dog, you know? So you want to curate a brand that is going to open doors. And then you want to have a brand that when people look for you, when you're becoming this magnet, that people will also be driven to want to work with you.
Are there particular marketing channels that are performing the best for you right now?
Yeah, and it goes differently, right? For SLG versus myself. So when you look at a business page and the type of content that we produce, TikTok has done very well. Like we have videos that take 1 million, 500,000, like it depends, right? Sometimes nothing, sometimes just like a few thousand, but it all depends on the consistency. But TikTok has become a great platform that I believe if you are able to build from the core of who you are and you keep on showing that content, you're going to gain a much more loyal audience that is going to grow with you because it's a younger audience. It's a bit more, I guess, radical. But if you are able to find the way of creating that loyal base through that platform, it's going to be very strong. And then, of course, you want to understand where your niche is. For us, Instagram is the place where we see the most leads coming in, where we see the most relationships being built. So for us, we focus a lot on what can we do to maximize what Instagram has to offer, whether it's collaboration posts, whether it's the outreach, whether it's communities, whether it's the right type of content that people consume. But then you also look at YouTube. YouTube has a great indicator for SEO. Like if somebody searches you online? What do they see first? For us, when people search super luxury group, what does it come? Website, Instagram, and then guess what? It's not TikTok, even though we have 500,000 followers. It's YouTube or Twitter, which is now X. So it's also identifying what is ranking best on Google and what can you do to keep on adding to that platform.
Yeah, that's great and really insightful. What role does email play in your marketing? And have you found ways to convert your audience from these third-party platforms that are great for getting scale to perhaps an email list or a channel that you have full control over?
Yeah, it's a good question. We actually used to do a lot of email campaigns through MailChimp, directly through our CRM. We use Soho, and we used to actually, we still have it, right? And we do little campaigns here and there, but it's not as relationship driven as we want. I feel like right now everything is transitioning more to, as you can see with WhatsApp now, creating more business tools. You can have broadcast lists where everybody will receive the same thing, but in a very curated way. So I believe that with the tools that we are starting to see more and more enrolled in platforms that people consume better than email, then it's worth exploring it because it also gives you an edge to differentiate yourself. Email marketing, yes, keep on doing it. If you have a loyal fan base of people that subscribe to something or that want to see those emails coming in, keep on sending them. If you have a great database of professionals that are actually interested into what you have to say, that has the links towards these other platforms, keep on doing it. I'm launching things that when I launch them, I still use the emails. I still go to affiliate programs and still look into people that have great databases. Yes, you want to be everywhere. And that's the magic of marketing. You don't want to just be in one platform. You want to be everywhere. But you need to identify what's your gold mine. If your gold mine is Instagram, put more effort and time into it, especially if you don't have the resources or the time for it, right? If I know that I have X amount of people, X amount of time, I'd rather put the time and effort in my gold mine rather than say, oh, we need to do everything and then nothing is working.
Yeah, well said. You recently published a book, Level Up.
Yeah.
What inspired you to write it, and what do you want people to take away from it?
Well, I mean, it's a great book. Not that I'm not the one saying it. A lot of people gave great feedback. I actually encourage everybody to take a look. It's on Amazon. It's Level Up. You can just type my name and you'll see it. And really, it's about how to become the hero of your own journey. A lot of people stop dreaming or get derailed by any obstacles. And this is just about taking control of your life again. And this is just the whole thing that we discussed throughout the entire conversation, is that you don't need to settle for average. You can be extraordinary in every single area of your life. If you believe it, then you can make it happen. And I want to just give a little synopsis that this book is a little bit about the story that we were just sharing in here, but also with the takeaways, things that I've learned throughout the process to get to where I am today, with both the mistakes and the successes that you gotta face when going in this path towards leveling up. And yeah, besides the book, I actually launched a free masterclass that anybody can just go and check it out. It's for free. It's a couple hours of very valuable insights. You can check it on alvaronunez.com/masterclass. And I recommend it to anybody. That's where I go more in depth into each area of life. And it's a very fun conversation where if you can learn a couple things and apply them today, then good to go.
I love it. Where can people find you and connect with you online?
My website is alvaronunez.com. You can find all about me over there, but where I'm also active on social media is the handle Alvaro Nuñez. So you can follow the journey on Instagram. That's where I share most of the adventures, and happy to help with anything.
That's great. And I highly recommend Alvaro as a follow. It's a very interesting, very entertaining account. So go out and check it out. Alvaro, it's been great having you on. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I wish you the best, and we'll see each other soon.
All the best. See you soon. Bye.